the old. And, you know, I own a few models that are way older than me, but, I think this one just about takes the cake because, you know, Wrenn, I wouldn't quite say that they're the predecessor of Hornby because I believe they were doing a completely different thing, but, they do make some of the most expensive, second-hand models on the market, these days, but, you know, long since gone, completely die-cast locos most of the time. And, you know, it's just nice to have a rarer thing, I guess. But, I say that this might be very old, but it can't be that old because it says that this is a diesel electric in BR Blue 060. Now, to most people, that, you know, means the one thing. That means, you know, that means the 08. But, of course, BR Blue was introduced in what I believe to be 65. So this, at max, is from 65, so that's not that old. And granted, it's still older than most of your parents, but, you know, it's not in this thing, by the way. I've long since taken it out. But what I just quickly wanted to showcase for you today is, I think, the first model in my collection that's completely custom. Like, you can't buy this model in any sort of shape off the shelf as it is. So, I wish to show you my NS Gronk, which technically is a Class 11, not a Class 08, but, you know. And whilst you can see that this is a loco that, you know, has seen use and maybe a bit of love, it's not in that bad a shape. You know, the plates are still attached, which are separate pieces. The steps, although they're a bit wonky, they're not, you know, completely warped. And yeah, generally, I've seen this run, by the way. This runs very well, although it's not very happy under load, but I'll showcase that in a second. Now, I do believe that it has been a while since this thing has been opened up, period, because it smells a bit funny once it runs, and I do think this thing has a ring-field motor in, but I can't be completely sure. Okay, that doesn't do it. How do you get it off? Aha! It's glued in. But why? Why is the wire glued in place? Interesting. It's also quite interesting that the motor is just completely contained within the cab of the unit. And that also doesn't seem like a ring-field motor at all, so I'm just going to put that back. Interesting to note is that the double frames, or the outside frames, I guess, they're just like slots. You can just, like, if you wanted to take the wheel set out, I believe this thing is hardwired though, so you know, you could take the wheels out. Whereas with the Bachmann one, you know, you have to basically demolish the entire, well, I suppose the proper way would be deconstruct the whole chassis. But this seems a bit more straightforward, if not for the, you know, probably being hardwired. I'm not gonna pry inside this thing to check that out. One thing though is that it's absolutely filthy, but I don't know how much a spot of contact cleaner would actually do there. Ugh. Can you see that? Oh dear. Oh, it came loose. Oh, what did I do? Well, now that it's loose anyway, maybe I can have a proper... Ooh. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's absolutely filthy. I've never seen something as filthy as this. Hang on. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, that's absolutely disgusting. Although, by the looks of it, you should be able to actually take that off, because that's a very long wire. Yeah. That's a very long wire. Oh dear. No, actually, look. The chassis just has the axles straight in. And is that cracked, or is that supposed to be there? But then also oiling this thing wouldn't really have any effect, because if you look, you know, the axles are basically hidden. I'm gonna put this back together. Hang on. Does this still work? It does. Interesting. Not as fiddly as I thought it'd be, as it's often the case with these older models, although of course new models are famous for being fiddly in their own ways. Ugh, look at all that hair. I'm sure you can see that. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay then, let's see if at least a little bit of oil is going to do this model good. I'm gonna have to put it on the outside of the axles because I can't get to the inside. I will say though, massively prefer this arrangement over Bachmann's arrangement, which might look a lot better, but it's a lot less manageable, I think, because you always have to deconstruct the chassis when you're done with it. Also, what's curious is that the middle wheel isn't picking up. There's no pickup going to it, which is strange to me, but whatever, I guess. Maybe a little oil on the actual drive gear as well. Little more, right, work it in. That seems happy. That seems happier than it was, at least. Because again, I've seen this run, but yeah, for some reason it doesn't like being under load in bends, but I mean, I'm hardly going to use this daily. I mean, going to DCC, having to go to DCC, fit these, has got to be an absolute nightmare, so oof. Putting these two side by side, like, if you were to take the modern Bachmann one, and this is already the slightly older Bachmann one for as gospel, this loco is a bit too short, it's a bit too narrow. The cab is interestingly too long, but you know, now that I know that's because of the mechanism, I can excuse that. But other than that, you know, and the fact that this doesn't have a whistle or a coupling hook, this thing is surprisingly accurate. You know, even with this being a repaint, which again I will say is done very nicely. I quite like this, I really do. Did I mention that I only paid 36 euros for this? Yeah. And then I looked, and the original model that this is based off tends to go for £100. So, haha. I think that's going to be a bargain. But considering I can't really do much with that mechanism, let's see it go around for a few laps on the layout, shall we? Righty then. Now, of course, I've had already run this in, you know, and this being an older model does mean that, okay, well, does mean that, of course, it has seen periods of use. But why are you not going at all? Okay. And you can know, with these models, you can never have them, you know, run completely smooth, but you know, considering that this locomotive have basically never seen, you know, proper attention, I don't think that's that bad. Especially not once it gets going. Right, let's straighten the coupling. Let's see if I can get that thing to... Oh, I think that didn't... No, that did not. Okay, well... I'm not a fan of that design of coupling anyway, but... Come on. There we go. And what freight was in there is now properly broken, but... You know, I quite like it for what it is, and for what I paid for it. It's just a little guy trying to do his thing. Now, if it would actually get a move on, that would be nice. Yeah, come on. Yeah, oh. Nope. It's not dying on the dead zone, it's just not going. There we go. And I just like how rattly it is. Right, here it comes now after a full loop. Get ready for it. That's just a wee train set train. And I like it. As I previously mentioned, models like these will never run absolutely perfectly compared with what we have now. The performance of the 08 does improve with running, but I'm not going to let this run in for 20 minutes each and every time I wish to use this as a shunter. Maybe I just need some better grease to use with this, who knows. I got what I paid for, and I am not disappointed in the slightest. Thank you for watching. Next time I'm going to cover something a bit more modern, or older depending on how you look at it. So I hope to see you then. Cheerio!